let's do it. As a social media manager, Ben, you see that tweet go out from Nottingham Forest post match. It's a lively tweet. We'll get it here for those that haven't seen it. 3 extremely poor decisions, 3 penalties not given, which we simply cannot accept. We warned the PGMOL that VAR is a Luton fan before the game, but they didn't change him. Our patience has now been tested multiple times. NFFC will now consider its options. It's saying that the refereeing standards in this country just aren't where they need to be. It's accusing of biases. They apparently... Nottingham Forest raised the point that there was a Luton Town fan on the VAR. I'm not sure we've ever seen anything that reactive that quick.
No, not from an official club. No.
So we'll take it back. As a social media manager, Ben, how did you...
what were you thinking?
How
was your first day as Nottingham Forest media
social media consultant?
did you first day on the account? Did you get... I almost got like...
It's like second-hand embarrassment.
Yeah.
100%. I mean... I don't think tweeting that referees have got things wrong is actually that bad, but it's like over the line of like bias. And I also think like Mark Clattenburg's involvement as like this fucking ridiculous role of refereeing consultant, where like the geezer's just picking up. When you think about like bullshit jobs, easiest money in the world, a football club's refereeing consultant is well up there.
Yeah, it's nearly as bad as being on Gladiators, isn't it? To be honest.
Ooh, yeah.
But like I think it's obviously come from above the social media manager's head.
Of course.
So
it's come from the owner.
Yeah. And I think it sets a bad precedent. And I think if I was in that position, I would just be like, LinkedIn. LinkedIn jobs Monday morning.
I was saying to Ben before we came on, the post is petulant. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. It can't go out. It's crazy. The thing is,
I kind of like it.
The thing is, every team has had these decisions go against them this season. But that is also kind of, I think, the point that they are making. Like, the last line of the statement means absolutely nothing. Yeah. Like, as Gary Neville said on Sky yesterday, there are no options. There's nothing to explore. Part of the problem with this whole situation and with the officiating this year as a whole is exactly that. There are no options. Because of the way that the PGMOL is set up and because of the structure and the power given to referees and officiating bodies, there is no follow-up. There is nothing you can do. But there shouldn't be.
It's bullshit to even...
You're right, but they should be trusted to do the job. The thing is, I think at the moment, all that happens is Dermot Gallagher goes on Sky, says they got it right / they got it wrong. And if they say they get it wrong, they put out a statement.
Monday morning,
the thing is, it is completely petulant and it's not the way to go about it. But I do think that post is a symptom of the problem.
The post is the actual problem. It's like implying bias and cheating. And it's like, that's where you get to abuse of referees, which makes it 10 times worse.
I'm not saying that they were right to put the post out. That is absolutely not the case. What I'm saying is the frustration is based on what has happened every single week. Not just for Forest, for everybody.
If I had like a hot take, like a consistent unpopular opinion, I don't actually think referees are that bad. I think it's just the worst job in the world.
I agree. I think like social media...
The quest for consistency is bullshit because it's different refs looking at really, really different situations week in, week out. Yeah. And they are different.
We're living in a vast society.
They've reffed that game differently to other games. So decisions have to have the context of the 90 minutes. And I think... Overall, I think refs aren't actually that bad. It's just football fans hate. Yeah, football fans hate decisions going against them.
Stuck a load of CCTV on football. Yeah. That's the way I see it. Like we're a bunch of like. But
I think
we just tell on each other now.
Clattenburg should be removed from any referees union because I think the worst thing about it is they've obviously like Clattenburg as this refereing consultant has obviously fed to the owner that the VAR is a Luton Town fan.
He said it again, didn't he? He sort of backed up. He labelled the penalty decisions a joke and repeated Forest's assertion that a Luton Town fan such as Atwell should not have been involved in the game. Yeah. I mean, let's break it down then, because yes, the statement is ridiculous. There's three penalty incidents, 2 involving Ashley Young.
All 3 involving
Ashley Young. Ashley Young. First one. What do we think?
I think they're all pens.
Let's spin through it quite quickly. First one, penalty for you or not? Penalty. No. Second one, penalty. The handball.
Nailed on handball.
100% penalty.
100%.
Third one,
penalty.
Penalty for me too.
Yeah.
Comes through the back of him, doesn't get the ball. Hudson-Odoi gets his body there. before him.
Yeah.
I think the first one, you've seen him given, you've seen him not given.
I
He does kick him,
Yeah.
but he's also moved his leg into position. Like, you've seen those given.
Yeah.
I've seen plenty not given this season as well. The other two, I think they're kind of nailed on, right?
Yeah, I think one should be overturned. I think the handball should be overturned, and then the other two are in that like grey area where one is really close to really should be overturned in clear and obvious error.
How can we not overturn the Ashley Young one? It would be my question. How do we not overturn that? That to me seems like. That's it. To me, seems the one that I'd be losing my mind over.
Which one? They're all Ashley Young.
The handball one. The handball.
Oh right, yes, yeah. 100%.
That's the one that I would be pulling my hair out over.
Honestly, I don't know the fucking rules of football anymore, particularly when it comes to stuff.
Yeah,
like
of course,
handball.
because then
it's just crazy.
obviously on Saturday we had the Grealish one,
which is also an absolute
Sunday,
nailed
the
on
Wan-Bissaka
penalty.
one.
then we had the Wan-Bissaka one on Sunday. So it's been. I think the problem is right. Obviously, the quest for consistency is one that is. Probably a dream.
Yeah, you're never going to get it.
But there are certain things they can do to help themselves. Like the Grealish one for me, penalty. The Wan-Bissaka one, probably not a penalty. And then the Young one, a penalty. Like I think handball in particular has become just by the by. Like whatever seems to be de jour in that moment. It's like it would be quite fun to give this penalty in the 90th minute against Manchester
I think
United.
so much of the problems come from like almost the scrutiny itself is the actual problem, because I think there are a lot of refs would ref it differently, and you get these it becomes like whataboutery, where it's like, what about that one that was very similar? Whereas actually I think refs are just doing the best they can in a league where it is so ridiculously scrutinised and so partisan that actually they will never win. Refs there's also an argument, I think, like refs should probably be paid more than they are, because I think you'd get more like competent people in.
That's the thing. The issue is, how do you fix it? What steps can they actively take in this summer to make sure this season doesn't happen again? You have to encourage better pay. You have to encourage
it to be seen as an art form, as as football is seen. Like, how can they? The other thing I think is they get paid a good wage. It's like 60 to 80k, right? I think the best ones can be about 100, right? But you're talking about dealing with the weight of the Premier League, especially, and everything, the social media. Your life is dominated by this, regardless. Because I mean, you speak to most referees, I'm sure they're going to tell you that you can't go to certain places, you can't do certain things. You have to at least build a level of equality between them and what's happening on the pitch. Because at the moment, people still feel like, well, they don't earn massive bucks. They're a Luton Town fan. Of course they're going to It's an easy narrative. I think we need to make it into like a really professional.
I also hate the punditry on it as well.
Yeah, well,
I fucking like where they're all like, get ex-pros in the VAR. I'm like, professional footballers don't know the rules of football. Like, in terms of like the actual to the letter laws, they don't. It's like, having worked in it with footballers in League Two, they were as confused and were sort of regurgitating the same tropes that fans were, that pundits are. And it's actually, these guys are experts in the laws. It is just really difficult to apply law, like old laws, to the scrutiny and to VAR now, I think. And there's this like massive gap between what the laws did, and it's like handball has been changed so much now that it's really tough for anyone to know what the actual law is, and it needs this clarity. Like, that's where the communication, I think, of PGMOL has massively failed in communicating why they're looking at certain things, and like those decisions have been really, really difficult to get right, because they're all a bit confused.
With this one, they're going to have to release the audio again, right?
Yeah.
For the 3 decisions, because people need to understand why those decisions were made the way they are. We don't want Harold Wedd coming out this week and sort of saying, well, we made mistakes. We got it wrong.
But this is audio, live feed, audio.
Listen, this is kind of the point that I'm making. Again, going back to the post, it's petulant and it's not the way to deal with it. But we've seen all the way through the season that the referees are not held to account in an appropriate way. I agree that getting ex-pros on a panel is going to do absolutely nothing. Getting ex-referees in as a separate body that is independent of the PGMOL and that are not match officials, but having them in as a separate body, I think could well be something they try. It doesn't work with ex-pros because, as you said, ex-pros, they're always going to want to give it in favour of the player. They're not going to know the rules. Ex-referees could be different.
So look, we sympathise massively with Forest fans, right? Because I think they should have had 2 penalties, but at the same time, I also sympathise with the social media manager who's getting that WhatsApp message being like, send this tweet now. We're calling everyone out. And he's like, maybe let's have a sleep on it.
Yeah.
But
Gary Neville's right to say Clattenburg should resign
I
because
don't
it's
resign.
premeditated as well. That is the worst
That role shouldn't exist.
I don't think
anyway.
there's any. Yeah.
What does a referee
bonus
consultant
does
do?
that bring to you other than you have someone who goes, well, he said that it was a. He said you fucked up again. It's like it's just another person to also confirm your biases.
Yeah.
Like I agree that it was a mess yesterday, absolute mess.
It's the chairman basically saying like, "Tell me I'm not the problem. Tell me the refs are the problem." That is basically Clattenburg's
And
role.
I think
it's fucking embarrassing.
We can all agree. We just need a wider pool of more of professionalised referees. But who would do that to themselves?